I want to thank you for your opening remarks and for the opening prayer, and our thoughts and prayers are with American people during this difficult time. It's an unprecedented time in the history of our nation. In the midst of a global pandemic, citizens will be asked to do their civic duty by participating in elections, not just in November, but in primaries and in local elections. And just last month, cities and towns in my home state of Virginia held local elections. And not only did they appear to have been held without incident, but in some cases, the turnout was higher than in previous elections. COVID-19 has changed how we live our lives with every decision we make, weighing the risks of our actions, whether it's grocery shopping, planning doctor's visits, and even now voting. As election day approaches, it's important for us to consider what we can do to ensure that it's conducted safely, securely, with strong protections against fraud, and fairly with accuracy. While I believe that my colleagues on the other side of the aisle would agree with those goals, I am concerned that H.R. 1 and their proposal to federalize essentially our election process would largely impede those goals. The Constitution vests states with the responsibility to administer elections. That's because each state is best positioned to run their own elections. And even more concerning than the prospect of losing a state's ability to best address the needs of their own citizens and localities is the potential of fraud that federalizing elections could cause or encourage. Although I support absentee balloting and support recent efforts in Virginia to move to an all absentee or no excuse absentee balloting, I'm concerned with some of the proposals for mail-in voting, especially as it applies to those states that don't have updated voter rolls. When you vote in Virginia absentee, the voter must request the absentee ballot. They have to fill out the ballot in the presence of a witness, although during COVID-19 that's been waived. And they must sign the envelope before returning it to the registrar. We take appropriate measures to ensure that anyone who needs an absentee ballot receives one, and anyone who returns a completed absentee ballot has their vote counted. As the U.S. Election Assistance Commission has noted, maintaining accurate voter registration lists is essential to protecting election integrity. And that's where we have differing standards all around the country. While COVID-19 has presented us with challenges, Congress has stepped up and acted by passing the CARES Act, which provides around $400 million to help states and to prepare for, and respond to coronavirus domestically and internationally for the 2020 federal election cycle. And I want to ask Mr. Fitton, it's been suggested that states, when an election is held in an area in which an emergency or disaster is declared, automatically mail absentee ballots to registered voters in that area. Do you have any concerns with that proposal, or with an all mail-in voting requirement absent updating the voter registration rolls?
Yes, specifically in California, we have a settlement with the state of California, Los Angeles County, where they are removing right now up to 1.6 million names from their rolls. Our analysis from last year found 14 counties totaling over 1 million extra names on the roll. So in theory, all those folks would get ballots because they're still registered to vote. And Newsom's plan, aside from its legality, whether he has the authority to do it, it's bad policy. Look, I understand that we need to be prepared for a potential surge in absentee ballot requests, but it's the wrong way to vote if you're concerned about secure voting. It should be reserved for emergency situations, our military deployed overseas. And if you want your vote to be secure and counted, the best way to ensure that is to go and vote in person. And we have these concerns about COVID-19. How does that comport with this massive push for ballot harvesting, which is illegal virtually everywhere? Ballot harvesting means people going around and taking ballots in person from people. This is the old adage: never let a crisis go to waste, and the left is doing it here. This debate is undermining our confidence in elections because it's confusing people. They can vote in person, they can pursue mail-in ballots as appropriate if they need to, but we should be encouraging people to vote in person. That's the best way to be sure that your votes are secure and counted.